We're up in the upholstery department. One of the latest things we've been working on is offering a Scout 2 rear cover kit with the hardware as well. And in this video, we'll take one completely from being stock, take it apart, and then every step to reassemble with your new cover. For a Scout 2 rear seat, tools you're gonna need are, you're gonna need some sort of hammer, mallet, you're gonna need pliers, some sort of cutter for your hog rings, razor blades for cutting your holes. You'll need a drill. I guess you don't need a drill if you're not replacing your back plate or back cardboard piece. If you do, you'll need a number, or like a 1/8 drill bit, and then you'll need some rivets, rivets. You'll need an awl for poking your holes, some metal wire. No, I use that up. Metal wire for what you tie your hog rings to. Hog rings. And then everything else you'll need is in a hardware kit, which comes with the bottom bolts, the side bolts, and all the self-tappers for the bottom plate. And then you need the cover kit, and you could have a fresh to death cover. You'll also need impact driver, some sort of screwdriver, number 4 impact bit for your side hinge bolts, a tapper, 1/2 inch, 3/4. There you go. Now that's all of it. First step is we're going to be detaching the back from the bottom. You'll need a number 4 bit, and then we'll be taking off these. Once you got those 6 bolts, we'll remove the backrest. Next step, we'll remove the cover itself. Usually these zippers are a little brittle, depending on the condition of your seat, and if you want to save the cover, you can cut it out, or be a little bit more gentle and try to save it. This is a pretty decent cover, so I'm gonna do my best to save it. Go. So with the backrest, some of the times you can have really chewed up foam. Your main thing is looking if it still retains its shape all the way around. If it's crushed like this, sometimes you can steam it back out to get the fuller shape. If it's missing a section, we can go and add some foam and shape it, but this looks pretty good. On the back side, one of the things that we offer is a new back plate. We have these cut. If yours is damaged, missing, we'll have those on the site. And then you also want to assess what condition your frame is in. This is all relatively surface rust, which is good, and we'll detach the foam from the frame, which usually we can get that off. There we go. And right now I'm just checking that all of these tabs where the bolts screw in are there. Some of the times they can be missing. You don't want to get your seat all the way back together, cut your holes to do the bolts, and then they don't thread in, because then you're taking it all the way back apart. So this frame, they're all usually pretty rusty, so we have them sandblasted and powder coated. So I will send this in to get refreshed. If yours is in good condition, this is an extra step that we do, but is not a necessity. Real quick, one extra thing that you could do instead of, we have them powder coated. If it's all surface rust, you can hit it with the wire wheel and paint it black to refresh it as well. Didn't know if that was something that would be more along the lines if you're doing it at home. So keep that. Next step is you'll need a 3/4 impact socket, and we'll be taking off the factory belts. This is an important step. One thing that will change is this is where your belts are currently. If you're running lap belts with no roll bar, your belts will go back to this location, so we'll have to cut that out. In our new kits, we don't pre-cut any holes. That's just good to know that that's where that is.
Some good drill noises.
Next step is we'll be taking the 6 bolts off of the bottom of the seat. Same number 4. If you buy the kit on the site, all of these bolts are brand new. If you don't buy the kit, you can reuse these, but we obviously want it to look as clean as possible. So with the hinges themselves, you can sand down, paint them black, or we have these powder coated as well. It just saves us time. And you can do something like this.
Nice.
I have no idea what this is. This is not normal, so we're gonna delete. We have 4 bolts on the bottom hinges. You can assess those. They're usually a lot tighter than this, so these are moving fine. So we're gonna take these, zip them off to get to our bottommost plate. Our hardware kit comes with these bottom bolts, brand new as well. And then we have 9, I believe it's 9. Yeah, 9 screws on the bottom. So we'll zip those off to get to the hog rings underneath to be able to take our cushion apart. Broken record, but the kit comes with these self tappers, brand new as well. Just tried to remove any of the searching around for hardware. We just have figured it out for you. Another piece that we send to powder coat. A lot of times these are really dinged up around the edge. We also make these new. Couple of options you can do for it. If it's, you know, you're just doing it at home and you want to leave it, that's fine too. This is a very important part. All right, cool. How this seat is put together is we have hog rings, which, where did they go here? Over here. Which this is a very basic upholstery method. So in your kit with the seat, if you order a Corbeau cover, is we'll send you with hog rings and hog ring pliers. We'll also offer a little bit higher quality hog ring pliers if you're going to be doing it a lot. But yeah, so we'll snip all these off and then pull the cover off and assess the foam. This is going to be a satisfying part. This one's just... So it's important to pay attention where on this original cover they put the hog rings, because you'll try to replicate it when you're putting the new cushion on. Yeah, so these, sometimes they get caught. You can use this kind of as a pliers. I also, grab a pliers too if one's really stuck. But so same as the backrest, I'm going to try to save this cover since it's a good original one. But if you're not saving your cover, if it's really ripped up, you can cut it out. It would go faster, but there we go. It's pretty decent condition, which usually if your cover's in really decent condition where like people slide in and out, usually that's where it rips up. If it's really beat, your corners will be gone. In this video, we won't go over like fixing foam or anything because this seat is a really good condition, original. Found a penny. Valuable. That's pretty cool. Let's assess the frame. Crusty, but looks to be structurally good. Some of them that I've dug into are like gone. So if that is yours, you may have to, source another seat. Most of the time they're reusable, so we will reuse this one and get it powder coated. We are now over the hump. Teardown is complete. We've assessed everything and we're looking to throw everything back together. I grabbed a fresh one of these bottom plates. It's kind of a before and after. So we'll send this one off to get refreshed. So this is the backing plate for the backrest that we got new. We have a fresh bottom frame, backrest frame, and our foam looked pretty decent, reusable for sure, and we will use our new hinges and new hardware. All right, so when you order your cover kit from us, you'll be getting the backrest cover and the bottom seat cover, and I'll show you how to install those. Very similar to how you took apart the originals. Yeah, we'll be going through that next. Another step that I forgot to mention is at the point where you've sanded off all your rust, painted them black, even if you decide to keep them how they were, very important to tap your holes, because a lot of the time, very rusty, and you need the best shot at when you have your cover all the way on, you cut your holes, and to line up the bolts, you need the best shot of not stripping them, not running into anything. So this is kind of a tedious step, but very important. What you're looking at here is your backrest frame. If you go ahead and buy one of these new backing plates, this is overall very good for the structure, so your back fabric in your cover does not flop, and it also helps with your top seam. So you'll have to use one of these instead of your original, you'll have to hit these springs at an angle so that this sits flat, because the next step is drilling and riveting this in place. The factory ones come taped around the foam. Those eventually deteriorate. We rivet them in place so we don't have to worry about it. So that'll be the next step that we do. What I'm talking about here is these outermost springs stick up. So kind of tap it to the side so it knocks it down so that your top plate doesn't teeter, and then you're able to rivet it to the frame itself. You take a number 8 drill bit, and I usually send one, make sure you're lined up with your frame. The reveal here is that this bottommost edge lines up right on top of that, and you want a little bit of overhang on your corners because your foam's actually going to come out to about there. So we'll drill these and rivet them, and then we'll put the foam back on. There we go. Now that we have the backing plate on, holes tapped, and a thumbs up on the foam, we're gonna start going with our new cover. One of the tricks that I have for this is that this is going to be a really tight fitting cover, which is great, but it's going to be kind of a struggle to get on over these. So what I take is a thin sheet of plastic, kind of wrap it around here so that when you're pulling the cover on, it slips on rather than getting stuck on the foam. So that's just one of the tricks that I found that works. Sometimes it takes 2 people, but kind of found that trick to work, so pretty good. Start one end. And the most important thing with this cover is this top seam on both the front and the back. You want everything to be square before you start cutting into the fabric for your bolt locations. Also, when you're if you do the plastic trick, tuck it up and in so that when you're going to zip your zipper, you don't get caught in the plastic. This is just the difficult part. Make sure the zipper's straight and get it started, and then usually you can get it. This one was sewn kind of funny. We finished up the backrest, got the cover on. Now it's a similar process for the bottom, a little bit easier of a process. So we'll start, we got our frame and foam looks good, and we'll take our cover. So the trick with this is flipping it inside out and crushing down the foam. I guess, is that a good way to see that? Okay, so with this is once you get it on, you crush down the foam and you hang it off the edge and you wrap it up and over. That way when the foam expands, fills up the corner. Instead of just yanking it over, you might fold the foam instead of having it expand. Once you got cover wrapped over the ends, you'll have to take some sort of wire. This listing here doesn't. It's already filled with a wire. This one you'll have to add. So this is just what the hog ring ties into. Woofda! Hot dang. Gotta get an iced tea. Next step is take your hog ring pliers, and your hog ring just sets in there. And then you added a wire into this hole here. So what you're gonna do is poke it through, up through the wire. I start on the back side, because you can always, this is better to go off of, because then you can pull your front end tighter if you need to. One thing that you can check now is that if your backmost seam is straight across, it could kind of, I have hog rings here, so that's straight, and that kind of gauges how much you need to pull to straighten that. Also, same thing as your front seam is equally as important. So this one you're gonna have to pull a lot more, being that it's a tight cushion, but it's gonna be a good final look. Now, if it's very tight and you can't reach your listing to your wire, you may have to press down on the foam to be able to move it. This one fits really good. Yeah, that looks very straight, so we'll move to the sides now. For the corners, you'll have your plate that covers this, but you do want, you know, a pretty flat fold. You don't want it, you know, bulging out too far. Same deal, you'll do this in 3 steps. This will be the first one. It'll pull tight here. Take the second one, hook it there through both of them. This one will go over the top. Finish it, then your plate. And this final one, you'll actually be going to the same wire as here. Okay, and in these white listings too, you're gonna wanna thread a wire through for your hog rings. All right, so at this point where you've wrapped this flap over, hog ringed it there, you're gonna wanna locate your bottom hinge bolt location. So you're gonna take and all, poke those out, and then cut enough space for your bolt to go through.
Okay. Good.
Cool. So we laid our plate on there, got our fresh hinges, new bolts. It's oriented one way. You line up your holes here with the holes you just cut. And then this being square is pretty important because this is going to line up with your holes in the floor of your truck. All right, if you bought the hardware kit, it also comes with 9 number 8 self-tappers. That's for holding in your bottom plate here. All right, this is gonna be crucial. You ready? All right, so we located our 3 holes and we cut squares. I usually put it all in there, keep it in, and cut it. You don't want it to be moved either way. And so then we'll take our hinge, our new bolts, and we'll start lining everything up. Usually have to keep them kind of loose until you get them all started. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the bottommost hinges set, holes cut, bolts in. We're working on the backrest. It's the same thing. Find it with an awl, cut around the awl. And these are kind of tricky to get lined up, so keep everything loose until you have everything started. And then we'll throw this on and we'll have a fresh seat. So now, using our kits that we have, the covers that we offer, this is like an all-inclusive tutorial on how to completely refresh your Scout 2 rear seat. This one specifically is to match the Corbeau seats that we offer on the site. So fairly simple, you gotta be, attention to detail a little bit. You don't wanna cut holes where you can't cover it up, but pretty easy. So this is what we started with. That's what we got.